thanks again for taking the time out to do this. This is really cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem. Thanks for asking me.
yeah, we met you at the PA Bigfoot camping adventure. You are a paranormal investigator and Bigfoot researcher. Is that correct?
Well, I was more paranormal back in 2006 to like 2013.
Okay.
Now, I really never called myself a Bigfoot researcher or, I go Bigfooting or squatching or anything like that. I call myself a truth seeker. Kind of covers the whole gamut
Mm-hmm.
of paranormal, cryptids, UFOs,
Mm-hmm.
generally in life too.
Yeah.
Just a truth seeker. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because I think too many times people want to separate the two, between like paranormal and Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's good. I'm gonna hold on to that one if that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's totally good because people were always saying, do you do right away when you say paranormal investigator, they immediately go to ghosts.
Hmm.
And if you say Bigfoot researcher, you think of Todd Standing or these guys that are just, out, knocking on trees.
Hmm.
I just, like I said, I'm a truth seeker. So, I would never, what would I say? Never, my neighbor said, "Hey, Jay, I know you're into this stuff, but my couch is spinning in my living room." I'd go over there and check it out and try to figure out what it was. You
Yeah.
know, but I
Um.
spend most of the time in the woods.
Okay. Okay. And you were featured on like Travel Channel and Small Town Monsters, right?
Yeah, I was on Travel Channel. That was all like in 2019. It all kind of came all together and everything. It was like just I guess being in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time. But somehow I get looped into this. It's like I never go out and try to look for these type of things. They just kind of fall into my lap, which more than happy to. Same thing with Small Town Monsters when they were up here. I know Small Town Monsters does a lot of like Bigfoot documentaries,
Mm-hmm.
and because my association with the late great Linda Godfrey, when people come up here to Wisconsin, they immediately go to the Beast of Bray Road,
Mm-hmm.
in Elkhorn, and that's how I got on the Travel Channel. That's how I got on Small Town Monsters, um, and even though Bray Road is right in between where I live and where I go to research, I do a lot of stopping there quite a bit by the Lee Hample farm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I seen the Beast of Bray Road on Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was one of their better films. Um, because it seems like they pop Small Town Monsters pops out a lot of documentaries,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of like two a year. Um, but that one, and it's not just me being biased because I was in that one, but I just think it was well done with the whole content and the graphics they used and everything. That was like one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. Now, a lot of the time I talk to people and finding out like what it was that got them into the field, and usually it's an experience. Is that your case?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. You know, I always say I was that pasty white kid in grade school that everybody was out playing softball and riding bikes, and I was downstairs with my black and white TV trying to see if the next Godzilla film was on or whatever. So I was always into the weird stuff. It was never an encounter; it was more of an interest.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it wasn't until the late '70s. I always date myself at this point, but the late '70s, when my mom was driving my sister home. I remember it was a Friday night from some school event, and my sister walks in the house, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and she's crying, "We're being invaded! We're being invaded!" And I'm like, "What's going on?" So me and my two other brothers and my sister all went back out to the driveway, and my mom's just staring up at this light in the sky, but the light's kind of twirling, but
Hmm.
it's hovering. It's not moving. And as it would kind of like rotate with different lights, and it was close by in our neighborhood, it would all of a sudden blink out, and it would be like several blocks down the street or across the lake doing the same thing.
Oh
Then the lights
wow.
would go out and it would blink over here. So at a young age like that, that was something that I encountered.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like an experience or an encounter, and it was just the luck of the draw that my grandpa K, he was in the early chapters of MUFON in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and so of course now we had uh, a grandpa grandson talk and held that interest, and I think that kind of grew with me then. The older I got.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I don't know that I've ever had any like UFO experiences. There was one time. It ended up being Starlink. Have you ever seen the satellites for Starlink?
Yeah, I've seen it twice. I've always seen the videos like on TikTok or something. You see and I'm like, they don't exist because I've never seen them,
Right.
and I'm always looking up. But being out where I research, when it's that dark out, boom, there they are. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember the first time that I seen it. I was taking the dog out, and I didn't know anything. Oh, apparently, I'm giving a thumbs up. I didn't know anything of it, and when I looked up and I seen it, my heart sunk. I was like, "Oh no, this is it."
It's the end. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yep. Have
And
you?
then you can see them as they're going over you. They start to blink out,
Mm-hmm.
almost like from your vantage point, you see them. And then when they get to a certain distance over you, all of a sudden they start blinking out, however
Yeah.
that is,
Mm-hmm.
the sun hitting it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Um, Now you do a lot of research out in what was I was looking at your videos on YouTube. Kettle Moraine, is that
Yep.
right? What
Yep. Kettle Moraine. Yep.
now is that like a part of Wisconsin?
Yeah. It's the Kettle Moraine is like 55,000 square acres of dense woods,
Mm-hmm.
lakes, just it's what I would say, like during the ice age, the glaciers that made the Great Lakes um, resided within that part of Wisconsin, which left depressions.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come to Wisconsin, you don't see mountains, but when you go to the Kettle, it's like we're like on top of an inverted mountains because there's very deep valleys that it comes back up, back down, back up, kind of like a kettle effect. And it also had the moraine is more of a kind of an open meadowy area. So there's a lot of open areas and a lot of dense woods, but it's definitely home to a lot of wildlife out there. I'll tell you that.
Now, you had other experiences aside from Sasquatch in that area? Do you think it's just like just an area of high activity?
Well, I always look at it by really saying, you know, what is a Bigfoot? Number one, we all come to our own conclusions of what that is, but we've seen different orbs of light traveling through the trees. I mean, at our level, not in the sky, because when you're in the kettle, you can have like the terrain's a little bit different. So when you're looking through the woods, you think you're looking through the woods, but you're actually at a lower part. So now you're looking at the horizon. And then if you have planes coming by, it looks like they're going through the woods. But there's a lot that are unexplainable when you're more on the top of a kettle looking down and you're seeing these light zipping with ease. Um, Again, don't know what those are. And I've been seeing them for years. Captured, I think two of them, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And but the video quality is what it is, never what you encounter or observe with your own eyes. Um, I've had time loss out there. And again, I don't know where to put that with the kettle, with the lights, or with Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear phantom sounds. You put that with the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many things out there that are just unexplainable. But all I do is I go out there and observe them, and then document it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much it. It's trying to take out all the white noise of Bigfoot researchers
Mm-hmm.
doing it one way, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because we're all doing the same thing. just a little bit different.
Hmm.
So I'm focusing here, right in Wisconsin, and that's how come I always say I'm not a squatcher, I'm not a Bigfooter,
Hmm.
I'm not a Bigfoot researcher, I'm not a paranormal investigator, I'm not a ufologist, just a truth seeker in general.
Hmm. Now, do you go out and do any kind of like, I know a lot of people go out there do like wood and auction house and things like that. Or are you just kind of observing the area at its natural state?
Yeah, I mean, for several years, I mean, I've only been going out there 11 years now. There's been people doing it a lifetime, and everybody has a different technique. I think we're all kind of influenced by TV, the
Hmm.
Finding Bigfoot, um, knocking, howling, which I did early on. But I always say I live to regret it sometimes because you could take it to a level where you don't really know what that means.
Hmm.
Because early on with the late great Linda Godfrey, um, it being out with her, you know that's in my first film where we're both out and she wanted to shake things up um, out in the woods because it was too perfect. It was an afternoon, daylight. She's shaking trees, trying to be like primates, show a little bit of aggressive to see if we could whip something up. Nothing happened with her, but when I tried it, I kind of did the imitation of a silverback gorilla.
Hmm.
I was really loud, really aggressive, and I got hit with something on the side of my head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was enough to leave a lump, enough, because I shook it so hard, and I was in character of, being the silverback gorilla, mind you, that when I was done, I'm looking down and I see a pine cone, but I'm actually shaking a more of a sapling, so wasn't near anything. But I thought, did I just knock that pine cone off, kind of like a Gilligan's Island for anybody that remembers knocking a coconut off a coconut tree and getting hit in the head? And Linda was actually laughing. I said, no, really, it hurts. I took my hat off and I actually had a small bump on the left side of my head, which was actually facing more of a moraine um, than with a tree line. Now, it definitely wasn't that pine cone because we picked it up and it was like last year's pine cone.
Hmm.
It was very lightweight, and the forest floor was just, weeds and everything else. So it was too thick to be able to find out what it was, but there was evidence left on my head. And when I had to take Linda home after and I dropped her off, I was in her subdivision hundreds of times, easy in, easy out. Dropped her off, goodbye. And on my way out, I lost track of where I was. I kind of felt like, one of those older people that start to lose their memory. And it got kind of scary because I'm like, wait, I know where I'm at. So I wanted to put my GPS on. Back then it was the Garmin, wasn't on the your phone devices.
Hmm.
And I go on the Garmin and it doesn't have service. So now, I don't know where I'm at. And it was a scary thing. It all kind of clicked a little bit later, but then I realized at that point I think it was a small concussion that I had. So again, that was real.
Hmm.
And that was from getting to your original question, do I go out there and hoot and holler and bang on trees? I don't anymore, not after that. I really kind of had a little bit more respect to saying, we don't know what we're doing. We're imitating what's
Hmm.
on TV. And then while other research groups do that, that must be the thing to do. And it might be for them or for those on TV. For me, not so much.
Hmm.
And that's what I kind of just focus on, not Bigfoot in general over the world or the United States or even all in Wisconsin. I'm looking at what I'm observing in my area, and that's all I can do, because I don't want to piggyback off what other people say, and they may have something similar, and that's why I never poo-poo or disrespect any other researcher out there, because I do keep my ears open on that, but I have to focus on what's going on in my reality where I research. So the long answer to that is no, I don't go out there and knock on trees or hoop.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to hear something fresh, you know, like a lot of people go out there and they do the hooting and hollering because they see it on TV. And for people that are just getting into it, like Luke and I, Luke's not here, he's doing something else, but
Hmm.
we don't really know what we're doing either, you know, but we look up to those people as if they do. So we follow in their footsteps.
Correct. And again, same thing with me. I'm not Jay Bachochin, the great white Bigfoot hunter who has one in his garage, who's studying it and knows everything about it. It's very easy to get caught up in that.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, with that, it's kind of like we don't know, and even I don't know. And the refreshing thing about it is you've got to go with your gut feeling when you're out there.
Hmm.
If you want to go out there, and I think if you're looking for a great ape and you want to hoot and holler, you'll probably get your great ape. I think if you go out there with a little bit more respect, as if I'm talking to Dustin, you might have a little bit more respect coming back.
Hmm.
And I can only go by being aggressive and getting hit, on the side of the head. The following week, and again, this is in my first documentary, I was out with another hiker, and we were having like little stones thrown at us. And if you look at the Kettle Moraine's terrain, whoever could have been up there trying to traverse was making no sound and keeping perfect accuracy. These little pebbles were coming by our feet all the time, right in between us, like dead on aim. And this was a week after when I got hit in the head. Is then I start getting cocky. They finally stop, and I knew where it was coming from, so I bent down, picked up a rock, and threw it out there. I hit the side of a tree. Now I couldn't hit the side of a barn. I got lucky, but I threw that stone out there, hit the side of a tree, and next thing you know, from a great distance is a barrage of pebbles,
Mm.
and they were being whipped through the trees. I was filming, but I wasn't looking through the viewfinder. I was holding it up, so when I looked down, I actually saw the spray of rocks by my feet. I didn't capture it on the film, but I saw it with my eyes, and I thought, okay, this is getting ridiculous. I don't care if it's a Bigfoot or a person out there. I just got hit in the head last week. I'm not about to get pegged in the face or something.
Right.
So again, it's is it our approach to being aggressive out there? A lot of people would say, well, it's just a juvenile and they're just playing with you. Well, we really don't know.
Hmm.
Statements like that, I can't tell you that there's a mom, a dad, son, and a daughter. And, it makes sense because we're comparing what's out there to us, what
Hmm.
we know as people and the primates we know, but we really don't know what these beings are,
Hmm.
in my opinion. So yeah, definitely, I stopped being Zach Baggins and trying to, bring down the hammer,
Hmm.
because it does you don't know what you're gonna get.
Right. Yeah, Luke and I go live regularly in an area that we get a lot of the same kind of activity, and more so within the last couple of weeks, we get out there and do our hooting and hollering, you know, and I'm like, I feel like we're kind of putting ourselves in danger in a way because we don't know what we're communicating, and there's a chance that it could be something that doesn't like that. You know what I mean? We might have something
Yeah.
come in and
I mean, the thing is, right? The thing is, that's what I'm saying is that either A, everybody is correct and I am wrong, which is okay because you have to do it by yourself and you have to go with that gut feeling. But that's what I kind of felt. Now, I was granted down in PA, when I saw you down there in PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure, Fox Pro,
Mhm,
they gifted me one of their most expensive collars,
mhm,
their wildlife collars. And I mean, I couldn't be more grateful that they did that, just to help me on kind of my journey of what I do.
mhm,
I might have used it a lot more way in the beginning, but I've never used one since. Now on TV, you've seen on Expedition Bigfoot, they use these things, and so I thought I would give that a try because they put Sasquatch calls on there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm telling you, either the results were bringing up coyotes really close to us, at least a lone one,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just out of ice. I mean, it was pitch dark, but he was there. He was watching us,
Mm-hmm.
and so again, the howl, is it just for others said Bigfoot to communicate, or are these sounds also for all the different wildlife out there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once you get in my head, I think of like Aquaman and putting out his beams to talk to the fish,
Mm-hmm.
underwater. I know it sounds crazy, but I really don't know what that purpose is for yet. And I'm still learning it. So I used, the Foxborough uh, Pro Call, and it did bring up some very interesting results.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just happy to try different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I was talking to them guys. I was playing with that call a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, which I thought about purchasing one, but I thought, what's the difference between that and like just getting a speaker and playing it off my phone or whatever.
Yeah, no, it is right, but it's cool. It's loud. It's effective. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I woke up my kids with it when I got back. It was kind of fun. A lot of usage for that. But like you said, a call is a call. Whether you're going to use it
Mm-hmm.
electronically through a speaker or your own vocals, um, that's just me. I'm always like, what are we really doing? Are we calling him for dinner? I don't
Right.
know.
We had something interesting happen the other night at our location. I whistled with my fingers like really loud, and immediately had something whistle back to me, and we caught that
Hmm.
on video. We have it on audio.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing with that is I've had the whistles. It was early on, probably 2014. During the day, though,
Oh wow!
How did your whistle sound? Like, can you kind of
It
describe
was.
what you?
It sounded like it mimicked me like perfectly as far as
Yeah.
like the tone and the way the inflection was in the whistle. It was just kind of like a something like that.
Okay. Because the reason why I ask that is, I've always heard people saying they've heard Bigfoot whistles. You can go on YouTube and look everywhere. You don't know what's true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When you're online or from anybody. But it's the same thing in audio in 2014 during the day. I was out with another hiker and we were on top of a kettle and I remember it was February, snow everywhere. And during the day, and we're just kind of poking around, looking around, and it was kind of like
Mm.
just a single tone.
Yeah.
Now, it was definitely not a wind going through a tree, because you'll hear the trees rub, and sometimes they sound like a baby, sometimes they could sound like a whistle. This was like a kind of, hey, I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, first thing I'm thinking of is there hunters here? I'm trying to figure out what season it is for hunting, or I mean, we're looking in the trees, and again, because there's no leaves on the tree, it was really easy to see. However, that tone that I just did was literally within 5 feet of us,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nobody there. And again, it just sounded like a single tone. So that's why I was kind of trying to find out if anybody's ever heard a single toned whistle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'll have to send you the video because that's you said it sounded like it was pretty close to you, which that ours did as
Yeah.
well, which is strange because we were in an open area and mostly surrounded by a lake.
Mm.
So,
And it's like right there. And exactly.
mm-hmm.
Because the biggest thing is no matter what, the skeptics of Bigfoot, the skeptics within this field, is always going to be high. You're always going to get, no, it wasn't that. it was an otter coming out of the water, or in my case, it was a pelican with a Santa Claus hat on. I'm just saying it's,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to make it sound that bad, but there's always that excuse when people are not there to observe it. They can hear it through your video, like you'll send to me, and I could send you the one that I have as
Hmm.
well, that video or the audio of that. And we both weren't there. I wasn't where you were, you weren't where I was. So it's really hard to put it in context of what that person observed.
Hmm.
And again, with that, I always say, I'm not an Outback Jack. I'm not Crocodile Dundee. I'm not that expert tracker. But I'm learning as I go, and I think that's what we need to do as we go out and hike and observe. But again, that single tone whistle right away immediately to me is I've never heard a bird do that.
Hmm.
And it sounded like very much like almost like a human whistle, but there was
Hmm.
no human there. Then
Yeah.
again, I've never seen a Bigfoot puckers lips up and whistle.
Right.
So
Right. Oh man, I had something. I just lost it. Um. Oh my goodness, I can hear my kids.
it'll
um.
it'll come back to you, and just
It will.
interrupt me because I'll talk your ear off the whole time. If you have something, boom, pop me. Just
Yeah. Since we've been going out there, we've kind of shifted our motive, so to speak. Um. Daniel Benoit. Do you know Dan? You know Daniel, right? Daniel Benoit.
I don't think so.
No, I thought he was. I thought he was at that camping adventure. He may not have been.
Maybe it was.
Um, but Daniel Benoit is somebody we had on the podcast previously, and one of the
Okay.
things he had told us when getting out in the woods is to get Bigfoot off the brain, and I didn't think about like what that meant until I got out there because then everything's Bigfoot.
Correct. We honestly we talk about that all the time, is especially if you bring somebody new out, and that happens even when if you're paranormal ghost hunting.
Hmm.
If that's on your mind, it's already planted in there that every rustle out in the woods, every stick break is a Bigfoot, because that's what you're out there for. And that's how come I never say that I am a Bigfooter or a Squatcher. I say I am a hiker who's just out there to observe.
Hmm.
And that's what I want to portray. Now, while I'm out there, do I have enough trace evidence over the 11 years to make me believe that Bigfoot does roam the Kettle Moraine? Absolutely, 100%, without a doubt. You know, strap lie detectors on me. Watch my films. I don't put the fluff in there. I don't over dramatize uh, any of my encounters, but it's what I believe. I guess it doesn't matter what Dustin believes, or, my wife, or, my friends or coworkers. They're not out there. They're not there to observe,
Hmm.
and to be able to come back and talk about that. Then, even if I do have something odd, which is, maybe one out of, six trips out there, even that one out of six times is still unexplained.
Hmm.
So I really can't say what it is, but I can tell you that this is what we heard. A couple of weeks ago, we actually heard what sounded like a Native American drumming. Very odd.
Hmm.
And again, you can go back and say, all right, well, let's see. Can somebody have been out there bigfooting with drums and trying to make that sound? Okay. So, you got to look at all those. Like, again, Bigfoot on the brain. Well, this is Native American drumming. And there was that same night at a different time, it almost sounded like Native American chanting or singing, which again was just bizarre because I know the area so well. So I know where roads are and how far roads are, how far a closest house is. Because again, the Kettle, goes up 100 miles through the state of Wisconsin. So if you looked at it on a map and then you compared it to the Pacific Northwest or Ohio or Pennsylvania, Kettle Moraine is nothing. When you're in there, though, it's immense.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so again, like you were saying, or what Daniel? was
Yeah,
saying?
Daniel Benoit.
Yeah. And and that's exactly it. It's kind of you've got to, you know, take your mind off that, even though it's going to be there, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
don't kid ourselves. When we're out there, we still are out there for a purpose. But instead, go out there more enjoy your journey.
Right.
Enjoy, being out there with friends
Mm-hmm.
and just being able to just experience being out hiking, and that's the most important part of the journey. If anything else happens during it, hopefully you capture it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we go live. We go fishing. So
Hmm.
in the same spot, but
Nice. But the thing is, I don't think there's nothing wrong with being in the same spot.
mm-hmm.
For many, many, many years, we just hiked the miles. And I don't mean 10 miles back, 10 miles. When you're hiking, when you're in the Kettle, and you could be no more than a mile away from a road, that doesn't mean that we are um, just 1 mile off the road. So you got to go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the fingers are cutting through the Kettle, which is called a road. No matter what, you're still in the middle of the woods because you cross that road, then you've got another mile or two before you might hit another finger of a road,
Mm.
and then so on and so on. And it's just so wide and immense. So it's kind of like, you know, getting out there and you said you're fishing in the same spot. I believe from what I'm doing is I'm trying to do the same thing. We're staking out in the same spot,
Mm-hmm.
just for familiar. Um, so that way, if something's out there, it kind of knows. I don't want to say our schedule, but what we do when we're out there. We're not out there all of a sudden, target practicing, shooting, or being aggressive that way. We're kind of like, all right, here we are. It
Mm-hmm.
could be a Tuesday night, could be a Thursday night, could be a Saturday night, could be a Sunday, whichever. I kind of just mix it up. And you never know when, but try to keep doing the same thing once we're out there. And I think at that point, um, if they are watching, which I believe they are, it's so weird for me to say that. I'm sorry because 7 years ago, Jay would laugh at this Jay now because, this Jay now is, gone bye-bye. But it's, over the past, several years, I've had a lot of different experiences, believes that they are there. And if they want you to see them or experience them, they will allow that
Mm-hmm.
because I could be out with several different people and everybody has a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Some are more, 100% believe that's out there. Some are real skeptical. Some are, borderline. And I could tell you the different people I do take out, who I'm going to have an experience with, who I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically sitting and like you're saying, doing the fishing. That in a sense, that's what we're doing when we're sitting in camping chairs and staking out. We actually just don't have the rod and reel
Mm-hmm.
to do it. But that's what you're doing. You're sitting out there and you're fishing with a hook and bobber and a worm. That's it. Something happens, great. If not, it was a great night just to get out in the woods.
Yep. Yep. Now I remember what it was.
Yes. Yes.
um, which actually brought me to another question, which is probably a little bit better because you can go into it a little bit more. Um, Whenever you're going through your evidence, like audio and video and things like that, or even being out there, you witness, I don't know, some sound. What what ways or techniques do you use to differentiate like Bigfoot activity to something that's actually out? Like, could not saying that Bigfoot's not out there.
No, right, right. And the thing is, and that's what you got to do. If we catch a weird call, let's
Mhm.
say, and what I guess what I mean by call is, it sounds like a woman being attacked, or it's loud enough that that you're looking at saying, well, wait, fox can do that. What about bobcat? What about cougar? You know, and what's out there. So usually, if I capture something like that, as a matter of fact, all right, I'll give you a perfect example. Um, I have a Garmin audio recorder that has internal memory in a lithium battery that'll record up to 16 hours. So I camouflage that and I leave it out in the kettle all night. Then I'll go extract it the next day just to see what I captured. And I'll sit down and listen with these headphones to every sound. I pop it up in Audacity, put the waveform on, and just listen. Get to a spot, jot it down, the timestamp, what it could be, what it sounds like, question marks, but howl, whistle, whatever. So I can always go back and listen to it. And there was a lot. I kept hearing a fox, which was like a woman screaming. But then I heard something that did not sound like a fox or a canine of any type. And actually, Stephen of Foxborough, I actually emailed the audio file to him, and he listened to it, and he said it sounds feline. And again, he knows what I do, and he goes, not to burst your bubble. And it's like, no, you don't understand. I don't want a Bigfoot behind every tree. I don't want every sound to be a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. I want to learn those sounds. That helps me further understand the woods a lot better when I hear things. So when it comes back, it actually sounded almost like a old woman, kind of. It just sounded weird, and I've never caught that before. But there are bobcat, there are cougar in the Kettle Moraine. I've never come across one, but apparently I heard one, with a captured overnight to stay with that. And so, I mean, basically that's what I'll do to listen to audio. And it's painstaking long if you do it, if you leave static for 24 hours or 16 hours, because, it's not like I'm sitting here trying to play games on my computer or look at my phone while I'm listening. I'm actually watching the sound wave on Audacity and picking out the sounds and marking them, because it just helps me to go back and learn from that. Same thing with audio. I have static IR binoculars that I put on tripods out there. And, to sit there and go through all the hours of just looking at the same thing, there is a way to train yourself to have full view of it. I have a 27-inch iMac monitor that's that big in front of me, and I'm able to scrub through, because everything is going to be static that you're looking at. You see the wind move, you see a leaf move, or so your eye will catch that. You stop, look at it, note, okay, wind, start looking at the bigger picture. So I'll kind of do that as far as my audio, my video, especially at night. Then of course I've got my body cam, but my body cam's really documented for, for the journey out, to see if that this audio here is caught with my H1 zoom, see if it caught the same thing, any better, any worse. And I'll kind of do that. I usually don't just I do take random pictures. I try to do selfies. It has nothing to do with being narcissistic and taking a picture of myself. But I'm trying to get the photo bomb behind me. People go, yeah, right, Jay, whatever. And I'm like, it's the truth. I don't need a bunch of pictures of my head with the woods behind me. But I'm always trying to get kind of what's behind me.
Right.
Because a lot of times you think about it when we're taking pictures, that behavior would be, okay, this guy's using a camera and he keeps focusing at different areas. So maybe that's capturing it on that device he has, whatever. So when I'm holding it like this, they're not in front of me. Maybe they're behind me. So I just kind of keep spinning like this and taking random pictures of myself. But yeah, I mean, pretty much that's what I generally do. But if I get to anything that I deem I don't understand, I will send it out to several different people to get their views. And I mean, I trust them, even though they weren't there to observe it. Some come back just saying it could be this, look into this. And that's what I want back. I want to be able for somebody to tell me, you know what, you didn't realize there was elevators in the earth that come up and open up and shut. I'm like, oh, really? I'd never do that. I'm just saying. Um, so it's kind of like that's kind of my process when I do my, um, when I go through my evidence.
That's cool. I need to actually learn a little bit more about like what animals inhabit our area. That way, whenever
Hmm.
we do have those kinds of things, I can a little easier time trying to depict what it is. I know that we've had some
Yeah.
times that I can't tell what that was. Like the wood knocks, I don't know what's out there knocking on the woods or on the trees. Not in southwestern
Right.
PA.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, with that, and I mean that's a good point. That's actually the first thing I did when I first started doing this back in 2013. Um, is I did the same thing. And that's probably something I just kind of glossed over because I'm no Outback Jack. I'll go to the indigenous animals nocturnal and during the day here in southeast Wisconsin, then Wisconsin. If it's at night during the day, you get to what you think it could have sounded like, and even if it wasn't, you move on to another thing. You go from an owl to a deer to a cougar to a coyote
Hmm.
to wolves, but there's no wolves down here. But maybe there's a lot. You want to hit all those, and then once you get to those animals, then there's just a long list of different calls from mating to, um, hurt to all the different ones to the fighting. So it's kind of like you're kind of learning, what while you are listening and trying to get to that. So it's definitely something that I kind of glossed over it, but that's what you need to do. The wood knock. The only thing I can always say is that that's wood on. It sounds wood on wood,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And if that was the case, and I have a tough one with this too because I always thought, well, Bigfoot picks up a club and he whaps a tree, and it's never three times. For me out here, it's a single hollow pop,
Hmm.
but it sounds like wood on wood, right?
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, I've heard that back in 2014, 2015, all different areas, not the same area. Um, and I still hear them up in the winter. The winter when I first heard it, people were like, "That's just a tree popping because it was so cold here." But it's the same sound that I heard either in the spring or the summer or the fall. So it's all seasons. I've heard these wood pops, and that made me just think. What again? I don't have one to study. These are just my theories, but I'm always like, why would a Bigfoot walk around and just go, I'm going to call someone. I'm going to call my brother Joe. He's across the Kettle. And I want to give a wood knock saying there's people out here. Well, now that Bigfoot would have to bend down and try to find deadfall.
Hmm.
When we try to pick anything up, you whap it across the tree, the thing just breaks in half and it sounds nothing like a hard pop sound.
Hmm.
Then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe do they always carry around a club, the same type of club. But then I was thinking if they hit one tree to make a pop sound with that reverb, they would have to find the same density, type tree to make that same one. Because if not, if it was a thicker oak or whatnot, it's going to have a different pop sound.
Hmm.
So, and that's what was leading me to, and I've heard this before out there is that, maybe Bigfoot's using its body, its jaw, its tongue, its hands, clapping its hands, hitting its chest to make a pop sound. Because otherwise, like you were just saying, if it sounds wood on wood or breaking, the only thing that I think could do it was something with opposable
Hmm.
thumbs. And the only thing that we have out here would be either A, man,
Hmm.
or B, raccoon, or, um, that would actually do that because if we're influenced by TV and we see people hooting and knocking, who's to say somebody's not out in my neck of the woods doing the same thing that I'm doing? And they don't know I'm out there. I don't know they're out there. And all of a sudden you hear a wood knock, which you can definitely tell if that's not the wood pop, but the wood knock. As a matter of fact, I heard one last night, kind of out of the distance, but it was clearly wood on wood.
Hmm.
So again, with that, it's like all I can do is note it and not jump to the conclusion of it and just say it did definitely sound like wood on wood, and anything, it could be anybody's game out there
Mm-hmm.
until we actually see where the wood knot came from. We saw Bigfoot doing it, which I don't think anybody's ever seen a Bigfoot actually knock on a tree. At least I haven't. And even if I did right now see a Bigfoot knock on a tree, I don't know if I'd believe it with the way AI and everything is now.
Well, yeah.
So I'm just got you, like I said, I'm kind of rolling with my gut.
Yeah. That's been actually one of my arguments lately. Is that these wood knocks, they sound a certain way. They all have the same tone, and
Yeah.
we try to mimic it or recreate it, and everything that we've tried, I'm like, this isn't it. This is what we're doing sounds nothing like what's happening out there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. You know, people are always saying, no, it sounds like banging on a tree. Because I can tell you what, watching episodes of Finding Bigfoot or anything like that where people are knocking, when I hear that, it's not what I hear out in the woods at all. Mine again is more of that hollow wood pop sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only one, but it's loud enough. And, you know, because I've been hearing it all this time and in different areas with different people, not just me, you know, it's basically telling me that either they're walking around with their own little tree and their own little stick to make the same wood pop sound no matter where they're at. But I think that would be, you know, kind of
Mm-hmm.
expending a lot of energy to do that while foraging for food or whatever
Right.
and doing whatever. But I would think using hands or their jaw or their tongue, like the
Mm-hmm.
Bushmen, you know,
Yeah, that's what I
you
think it
know,
is.
yeah. So, and we've never seen one do it. We could
Right.
only come to like you said, we could. That's what we think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, you've got your truth, I've got my truth, and when we're out there, it's the truth that we are observing rather than hearing the white noise of everybody out there. Because believe me, there's researchers out there that can run circles around me, not only with equipment, not even, or, you know, with what they know about science and animals,
Mm-hmm.
run circles around me. I mean, even just physically just run around faster than I can, which is good. And again, I don't knock that at all. I just keep coming back to what I observe and what I believe what it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to approach it. Um, Man, my mind is just slipping today. I had another question and I lost it.
Oh no,
See, I have
that's all right.
like a list of questions, but our conversation has been so good that I don't think I've even asked any of them.
I know, right? We just kind of just jump into it, which is, I don't know. I guess it's a great
Hmm.
way to move about the conversation.
Hmm. I like the organic flow of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So do I. Yeah,
um,
the good DJ conversation. It's like an FM channel.
Absolutely. So, what do you think? Do you think the lights are connected to Bigfoot, or what do you think those are?
Well, this leads me into kind of what I've been in like the past year. Um, it actually started back in 2016 when I was finding single feathers on a path. All right, now the first thing is, Jay, you're outdoors. There's birds out there. They're going to lose their feathers. That's true. 100%. 100% agree. But you know, as we're hiking at this point, we're not staking out 2016. We're just hiking. When you find that single feather in the middle of the woods, and you know you go down another 75 yards, 100 yards, another single feather in the middle of the path. I'm sorry, I said middle of the woods. In the middle of the path, and I believe one day we found 6 feathers during our hike, and each feather was in the middle of the path. And I just thought that was really unique. And again, because I was out there looking for Bigfoot, had to have been Bigfoot leaving these feathers around. It just had to be, you know, because he carries around a club and he carries around feathers to leave. Um, but I've been seeing that for since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I've been noticing the feathers. And that really made me come to this is all going to make sense about the lights here in a second. I'm just a storyteller.
No, no, I like it.
and and it's I started thinking, what, the feathers outdoors, the wilderness. And I started getting to, I wonder if because I kept thinking of the feathers and a headdress like Native Americans. I wanted to start looking at the Native American approach to the woods. And I started doing that over a year and a half ago. And I was gracious enough to be able to talk to a Potawatomi elder, a Ho Chunk elder, a few others of what, I don't want to say their lore or their folklore, because that's what we look at, right? We look back at Native Americans saying, oh, they believed in this, so it had to have been interpreted as that. No, they very much have some very interesting stories, but the Potawatomi elder was telling me um, it was one of the coolest things because he said, Jay, you're looking for the wrong thing when you're out there, because he knew I'm looking for Bigfoot. I think it's much bigger after speaking with him that it's the woods itself, the living woods. And I just roll with me on it. You can cut the transmission if you think I'm way too over crazy here. But, when you're standing out in the woods, it's almost like, people would think that Bigfoot's the protector of the woods, right?
Hmm.
But I keep thinking, what is Bigfoot protecting though? The trees, the rabbits, the wolves, the deer. Is that what Bigfoot's really trying to protect? Um, then I started thinking as a bigger picture of what the elder told me. And, maybe this group of trees in the forest is more of a one entity. Okay. So all the trees connected to all the weeds, to all the everything that's out there, just all connected. It's almost like if you turn the kettle upside down to look at where the root systems go, they're all connected. So that means when I'm walking into the woods and I hit this plant, I'm actually disturbing the whole woods as itself. This gets crazy. But the Bigfoot that's out there is, what is it a bouncer of? I think of it like a cooler, a bouncer
Hmm.
of the woods. And maybe when you're standing out there and you're looking at all these trees above you, just kind of put yourself, this sounds crazy, as a flea on the backside of a dog, and then having all of its hair, its root system, right? We're on the dog, so we're on the living woods. And what we're doing is we're the fleas that are on the back of the woods, and we're just kind of, if we're going to disrupt it and start cutting it and harming it in any way or building on it or anything like that, that would be the kind of like the protector to get the fleas off the dog's back, so to speak. So when the elder, and again, the elder did not tell me this part of it. I came to this with my own crazy J thought, because he was talking about the lights, the magical little people that are out there, the crows, all these like played a part of the living woods because the trees and everything were living themselves. We look at them as, all right, there's a tree or a branch in my way, cut it down with a machete. Now it's, looking at the woods in a whole different way, in a whole new respect. When I get out there, because this comes to the lights. He told me that, it's not just the Bigfoot part of the living woods, it's as well as with the lights. Now, you're going to ask me, somebody to say, are the lights Bigfoot themselves? I've heard different encounters where people have seen lights come by, a Bigfoot's there. Or in my second film, I actually have documented flare thermal of something peeking behind this huge tree, back and forth, a very odd movement. Um, And next thing you know, it finally goes behind the tree again, and I'm done looking at it. And I take off my flare, and right from there comes this orb of light. And there's three of us that saw it, just right in front of us, and then go way to our right out of sight, and then we just heard a breakthrough in trees. And again, I'm like, was Bigfoot just solid because it was a flare, with the heat thermal? It turned into a ball of light, crazy, evades us through the trees, and then becomes full form again, physical form, and breaks through trees. And I started trying to put a connection together of what the Native Americans would look at, because they called Bigfoot or Sasquatch, they called it the spirit of the woods. And there's been many encounters that you can listen to, whether 98% are made up, but the 2% are real, that people have seen them and then all of a sudden just disappear right in front of them, but not like, not like Predator or anything like that. But um, there's a lot more respect that I have of how the Native American approached it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at today, being out there, is that these lights are just part of the living woods.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means, whatever it is, I don't know. It's just a mindset when I go out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at it from that perspective. I actually, there was a video that I had just seen on your YouTube channel. You and a lady I'm not sure, you were holding something in your hand. You guys had taken something out of a pouch. Um, what were you
That
guys
was
doing?
my okay. Well, that was me. After talking with the elder a year ago, um, he was saying what you need to do is leave a thank you of a pinch of tobacco,
Okay.
not just any tobacco, but like a pure type of tobacco, not chemicals or anything like that, and um, leave it out and just give thanks. And I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, at that time, and I'm like, I've never done that. And it was really nice. He just stopped and paused and he said, Jay, this is your sunrise. This is where you kind of wake up from what your main motive was way back in 2013 till now. It's like an evolution. You're just always changing your how you approach it yourself, not maybe your equipment or how you're going to go out and knock twice this time or just once. No, I'm not saying that. I think it's all the mindset. And at that point, it was, yeah, I think it was Sherry and forget who else was out there, but it was one of the coolest things. But go ahead. So you were saying you're watching that, and I was actually going to give my pinch of tobacco at that point. Mind you, nothing was scripted, nothing was planned, and I just turned to the woods to give the woods thanks
Mm-hmm.
with my pinch of tobacco. All right. So then, what were you going to say about that video?
Um, I don't remember. um,
Well, but you saw it though. You
yeah.
watched that part of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then right as I'm to say, uh, you know, uh, thank you
Mm-hmm.
in my own words, though, not
Right.
trying to be Native American, um, trying to be a poser or anything like that. But I'm just trying to learn the respect. All of a sudden, what sounds like a coyote that's just sitting, I don't know, maybe 25 yards from us on a tree line, just starts a single one, just almost something out of like an American Werewolf, from London or something like that, just eerily howling
Yeah.
and doing different stuff. Which some of them sounded like a coyote, and then sometimes there was one of it where it actually sounded like a monkey. And that's how come you see my face kind of go, I had this puzzled look on my face. Like that was weird. But the oddest thing is as the coyote is doing its howl to our left, on the right side, we're hearing answers with a knock.
Oh.
What sounds like a tree knock. And it did it twice before you see me put up my finger, kind of like I'm pointing at Okay, now the coyote's going to howl. And then immediately I point to my right, and then you hear a pop, a wood knock out there. And that was the most bizarre thing. Now, I could say that surprised me,
Mm-hmm.
because definitely didn't scare me. I just thought it was the most fascinating thing ever. In fact, I remember Sherry was recording it. We laughed after because we're watching it, and I'm like, do you notice none of us even were worried about it at all? You know, and again, I'm not saying I'm, you know, I go out there with, just saying, Jay, man, he must be steel balls to go out there and just, there's things that freak me out there, but that didn't. And I just found it just fascinating. And again, I documented it. Could just be 100% coincidence that I'm thinking the woods and the coyote goes off. And then there's somebody out there way out in the distance that could be, oh, that sounded like a Bigfoot, and another Bigfoot group pop knocking to the coyotes. We don't know.
Right.
All I could say is at that point I observed it. I knew where the knocks came from. I knew that was way, way, way out there. That was for that definitely those knocks. The kettle goes a couple miles that way before anybody could actually get in there. Late at night, is it possible? 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to document it.
Right. Um, I think what I was getting at is the spiritual perspective of things. I'm starting to lean more towards the idea of there is a more spiritual connection with the activity that we're getting out there because the woods is alive. Um, and it's interesting you mentioned the tobacco, and thinking back on our first initial experience that has brought us to the location continually was kind of started in that way. We were out in the middle of the woods in a cemetery that was kind of back in there, and Luke he chews, so he had taken it out and disposed of it. But then we got some weird activity. We had seen some strange lights. They were probably about this big, 3 inches in diameter, like a reddish yellow, orangish color. Um, and then we had heard a knock, and then when we turned back, the lights were gone, and immediately I was like, I think we're too close. I feel like we're too close. Something says to leave. So
Yeah,
it took us an hour and a half to get in there, and we were in there 10 minutes and turned right back around and left.
yeah. But again, there you go. It's trying to understand what you are observing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to say encountering, because when you observe, you could have an encounter. And who you were out with?
The other host,
When you
Luke.
went, Luke, yeah. So if Luke had his back to you and you had his back to him, and you saw something, or it would have been not an encounter for the both of you. It would have been of what you observed.
Mm-hmm.
If you and Luke were looking in the same direction, it becomes what you have observed. And again, we don't know what that is, because you're going to get the whole mishmash of Bigfoot as just an ape that we haven't caught up with. And then people, the apers, call anything other than normal the Bigfoot woo.
Mm-hmm.
The woo, which kind of seems like a dig, because in a way it doesn't let them open their mind to other possibilities of what it could be. And some people just have to be shown more so than talk, because talk is cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit there all day and tell you what I've seen out there, and it's like, so what? I don't want to say so what, but you can look at it and say either, wow, Jay, that's cool. I could be the best used car salesman out there and a great presenter and make people believe what I'm saying. But I'm like, don't believe what I'm saying. Go out there, find your own truth. Go do your own observing and find your truth, and whatever that is. And if you come back to me, Dustin, and say, hey, you know what, I saw Bigfoot. He was wearing a Chicago Cubs hat, and it'd be like, okay, that's just the bizarrest thing ever. But you saw it. How do you explain that to other people?
Right.
just like if Bigfoot sat down and said, "Hi, my name's Daryl. Let's have a cup of coffee together. I'm going to share the secrets of the universe with you." Who am I going to tell? Who would believe it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So again, it comes to what my truth is, and I'm not going to try to convince you that's what it is.
Right.
Because who knows? Maybe it's just happening to me. Maybe it's just happening to you. Is it going to happen to everybody out there? We don't know. Go out and find it.
Right. Right. I know we're coming up on our time. I'm really enjoying the conversation, but do you have
Yeah.
any upcoming projects or anything that you'd like to plug?
Actually, both of my films, Finding Jay from 2019 and Beyond the Kettle, Finding J2, are both available on Amazon Prime. It seems like every 3 years I seem to get an itch to put something together. So cat's already out of the bag. I am in pre-production of Finding J3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've had, again, many years. I did not set out, by the way, I did not set out to become Small Town Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Small Town Monsters has its own director, producer, cameraman. They have a big crew. I am one person. I am the one who films, gets the interviews together. I'm the one who's editing, putting together all my content
Mm-hmm.
of video, flair, whatever. And again, to try to make it into a coherent story so I don't sound like a babbling fool. And working and being a family man, it does take time. And I did not want to become that guy. Oh, yeah, Jay, he makes documentaries. Well, Small Town Monsters can put out, 10 before my next one comes out. But what I want to, and I did not really intend for it to be a trilogy, or in this case, who knows how long it goes, because people now know, oh, he'll just make another one in 3 more years. I'm just trying to share my story of what that I'm encountering.
Mm-hmm.
People are interested in it. Great, watch it. I always tell people I'm in control of all the content, and I don't add any extra fluff to dramatize it or anything like that. Yes, you have to add music to it, because if not, it'd be like watching paint dry. But you just try to put it together in the most honest way, and I'm just thankful for anybody that views them. And so when part 3 comes out, um, we're gonna be hitting a lot, and there's a lot to be shown. And in a way, it's like I want to tell everybody, what this content's going to be, because I do post on Facebook, social media, and that, but I don't really post the good juicy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm trying to be selfish, but if you notice, if you post on Facebook and social media, boom, people see it for that day. They might see it the next day. Within a week, it's dust. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to just put something out saying this is what I think it is, and then you get the back and forth. It's not it is, it's not it is, and then poof, it's gone. I want to be able to put this into a film and then put words around what this is. So there's a lot of it, and it's going to be mind blowing. So I'm excited for that. It'll be Finding J3. It will be in. I can tell you though when it will debut. Its first screening.
When's that?
August 22nd, 2025, at the PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure 5.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
so it won't be, you could be the first people to see it, before. It won't be on Prime yet. It won't be available on media like Blu-ray or anything like that. First showing is going to be exclusive to the PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure. And it's not a shameless plug. It's enough time. Usually it takes me a good anywhere from 10 months to a year to put the final thing together, because it goes through a lot of different changes throughout it. My first film, just a little fact, was actually longer than Avengers Endgame.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, people are like, now you got to cut it down to 60 minutes if you want to be able to give this to the documentary awards and to show it. And I'm like, but I don't want that. I just want to tell my story. So it got
Yeah.
down to 2 hours. Second film, again, it's 2 hours. But I try to keep things moving along.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Luke and I,
good.
we are definitely planning on being at that convention next year because we had a great
All
time and met
right.
some really awesome people. So yeah, looking
Yeah, it
forward
was
for
good
that.
to meet people like you guys. So it was awesome. Loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Um, I don't think that I have any other questions or anything. Again, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time to do this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Love to speak about it, and we'll stay in touch too. So
Yeah,
I'd love to hear your the whistle, and
yeah,
I'll let you listen to my whistle. It won't just be us whistling through Messenger or anything,
right.
you know, just like all right, that's enough.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's fine. We'll stay in touch. And again, thank you guys, both you and Luke, for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. And if you need any music for your documentary, let me know. I'm a music producer, so
You
I
are.
am
We're talking. We're
absolutely.
talking. We're talking. All right, love it.
All
Love it.
right, all right, Jay. You have a good weekend, man.
You too.
All
Take it
right,
easy, man.
bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Exploring the Unknown. This was a great conversation that I had with Jay. I'd like to have him back on. I think that he was really cool to talk to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be on this episode, and I was really interested in talking to him. He seemed like he was a very cool guy.
Yeah. Sitting here now thinking about it, there's one question that I wanted to ask him that I didn't get to. And that was if he had ever found any like tree structures or anything like that in his on his endeavors in the woods in the Kettle Moraine.
Where's that located at?
It's in Wisconsin.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Down in the description below, we have a link for GoStop. It will help support the show if you purchase anything through that link. And on exploringtheunknownpod.com, we have a Cash App and PayPal. You can also send in your donation through there. And don't forget to go subscribe to our YouTube. And we try to go live twice a week. Sometimes it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes it's days in between.
Mm-hmm.
So catch us live on YouTube.
That may change.
Yes, it's probably going to change once it gets colder.
Yeah.
It might not be going up so much anymore once it gets colder.
We'll figure it out though. We'll do something.
Mhm.
Do you,
Is that all you want to do for
I think
the
so.
would you rather question?
So I did a little differently this time. We've
Okay.
been consistently just doing the would you rather. But this time I have the would you rather, but there's consequences to each choice that are pre-generated.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you will choose wisely, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
Would you rather discover undeniable proof that Bigfoot exists in the Kettle Moraine forest, but in doing so, you uncover that it's a part of a hidden intelligent species that would be forced into hiding forever if exposed, leaving you to protect this secret alone, no matter the cost? Or reveal a massive government cover-up that proves Bigfoot and other cryptids are controlled experiments designed to test human perception and fear, but exposing this truth would mean facing unknown consequences, including potentially putting yourself and loved ones in danger.
That's
Remember,
I'm
there
going
are
to say that's a pretty
consequences.
easy one.
Oh, is it?
In my opinion, I would go with the first one
Okay.
because if that's the case, if I knew that was a consequence in exposing these creatures, I don't think I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, oh yeah, they're real, but I'm not going to expose them and put them into hiding forever.
Okay, so I guess your definition of exposed would be like leading somebody to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would be like, they're there, but then I wouldn't want them to go into hiding anymore. Then people won't be able to research and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't feel it's fair that I would choose one because I already know the consequences to each one. So since you chose the first one, it says if you choose to protect the hidden Bigfoot species, you live with the burden of this knowledge, but it isolates you from friends and family as you become consumed with keeping their existence safe. Over time, people start noticing your obsession with the forest, and rumors spread, damaging your reputation and mental health. You're left questioning if the sacrifice of your personal life was worth it to protect these creatures' freedom and secrecy.
Oh, damn.
That's hilarious. So that I don't know. I kind of like doing it that way. What do you think? That was a little.
That's cool.
It felt more like D&D because like now
Yeah.
your choice has a consequence.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what the consequence of the other one was?
Yeah.
If you choose to expose the government cover-up, you find yourself in constant danger. After the revelation, strange people start following you, and anonymous threats flood your inbox. You realize your loved ones are also at risk, and some begin distancing themselves out of fear. You live in a state of paranoia, always looking over your shoulder, wondering if it was worth uncovering a truth that the world might not have been ready to handle.
Yeah, see, I don't want to deal with all that.
So are you glad that you picked the first one?
Yeah.
All right.
Covering up exposing a government cover up, that's not something I don't think I want to do.
Right. Well, I don't think I have any more to add to this.
Nope.
Alrighty, guys.
Till next time.
Keep exploring the unknown.